Donald Trump's Department of Justice is corrupt to its core. I never thought I'd have to say that a Department of Justice was corrupt, but here we are. And now we've got all the data points over the last 6 months. It's all coming to a head in the Epstein Pedophile Coverup scandal that Donald Trump so desperately wants to go away, but we won't let it. And let's take a look at all the elements of corruption from Pam Bondi to Todd Blanche to Emil Bove to others in the Department of Justice, because the tone starts at the top with Donald Trump. The Department of Justice for Donald Trump is corrupt. Federal judges know it. The Supreme Court ultimately knows it. The people of America know it. And let's stop pussyfooting it around. Let's put the pieces together. I'll do it for you here on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok. Let's get to the corruption of the Department of Justice and how the Epstein scandal is but a crucible demonstrating it's all coming together with the Epstein scandal. Let's start with just in the last 72 hours, last week or so. You've got Alina Habba, who is so supremely unqualified to continue as a U.S. attorney, running an office, the number 5 U.S. attorney office in America size-wise in New Jersey, that 17 federal judges ruled against extending her term. What has Donald Trump done in response? He's done an unconstitutional and illegal thing that will ultimately be found by a court in New Jersey to be unconstitutional and illegal. He's withdrawn her name from the Senate confirmation process, knowing he can't get past the 2 Democratic senators, Cory Booker and Senator Kim, because that allows him to try to now appoint her either through a recess appointment or through a provision of the Constitution as a special attorney indefinitely to serve in the function of a U.S. attorney, trying to do an end run around the Constitution and the Senate confirmation process. But public interest groups won't let him, and there'll be a suit about it. And if I were a defense lawyer representing a criminal defendant in New Jersey, one of the things I would do on an indictment that came out of an office where she has to sign it is I would say it's an invalid indictment because it's an invalid prosecutor, and I'd move to dismiss my indictment. So we've got Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi coming together as the number 1 and number 2 Department of Justice leaders, former criminal defense and impeachment lawyers for Donald Trump, saying we're going to support Alina Habba even if it means violating the Constitution and violating the statutes related to vacancies. Let's take a minute to identify that Donald Trump hasn't gotten one U.S. attorney confirmed the real way, the right way, constitutional way in 6 months. Another badge of fraud, another badge of corruption. He couldn't get John Sacroni, another U.S. attorney who was opposed by federal judges in the Northern District of New York. He couldn't get him confirmed, did the exact same thing. Appointed him through Pam Bondi, illegally, unconstitutionally, to be a special attorney under the Constitution, serving functionally as the U.S. attorney for the Northern District of New York. Again, if I were a criminal defendant lawyer there, any indictment I would move to dismiss on the grounds that the prosecutor is invalid. And that's where the lawsuits come in. So you've got the Alina Habba scandal. We have so many scandals we have to put names on with this Department of Justice. I mean, think about it for a minute. Say what you want about the Merrick Garland Department of Justice. You might have thought he moved too slow. You might have thought he was too methodical. You might have thought he got outplayed politically. But he wasn't corrupt. His U.S. attorneys weren't corrupt. His assistant U.S. attorneys weren't corrupt. And none of the prior attorneys general under Democratic or even Republican presidents, the one thing you couldn't say about them is that they are corrupt. Let's move from Alina Habba to what Donald Trump has done with the Civil Rights Division. We still have a Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice in name only. But it's been weaponized by Harmeet Dillon, who is a political hack who failed up for the position. She couldn't get the Republican National Committee chairmanship, so she got the next best thing. She runs and is running to the ground the Civil Rights Division. You think Linda McMahon is putting the Department of Education out of business and chloroforming it? That's what Harmeet Dillon is doing to the Civil Rights Division. They've weaponized it. Now they're going after people. Instead of protecting their civil rights, they're going after them for defending their civil rights. He's made a mockery of the Civil Rights Division within the Department of Justice. There's a reason that 2/3 of the lawyers in the Government Contracts Division, the Programs Division, 2/3 of the lawyers in the Civil Rights Division, there's a major brain drain at the Department of Justice because lawyers, most of them nonpartisan prosecutors, don't want to be associated with this Department of Justice. Now let's move to the illegal immigration deportation program, removal program that Pam Bondi completely supports, right? Emil Bove, who's up to be the Third Circuit Court of Appeals lifetime appointed judge with no experience. He's wholly unqualified. He's unethical. He told other lawyers in the Department of Justice in March in a meeting that they should go tell federal judges to go F off, to go F themselves, that they're not going to comply with their orders when it comes to the Alien Enemies Act and the removal, effectively the human trafficking of people without due process, to make them leave the country, get them out from under federal court jurisdiction, and send them to the dark prisons of El Salvador and other third countries. So you've got, and his reward for helping run that program, for him having completely decimated what was the shining star of the Department of Justice, the Office of the U.S. Attorney, Southern District of New York, where he dismissed the indictment against Mayor Adams, who is corrupt, who was caught in a bribery scandal with the country of Turkey and other countries. His reward for completely destroying that office, for taking on the FBI, for doing Donald Trump's bidding, and firing lawyers around him, is that he's up for the lifetime appointment and being stashed away in the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. So we've got the Emil Bove scandal, which at the heart of it is a whistleblower, 27-page single-spaced whistleblower complaint against the Department of Justice, Emil Bove, and other people by Erez Ruveni, who used to be for 15 years, including in the first Trump administration, a lawyer who worked in the Immigration Litigation Department. In the first administration, they had no problem with him when he was prosecuting all of the policies of Donald Trump the first time around, like the Muslim ban and the travel ban and all of that. But because he told the truth to Judge Zinnes about Abrego Garcia, that he was illegally deported and removed over an order of removal, he got fired. So he fired back and said, yeah, I was at a meeting with Emil Bove when he told the lawyers there that we should tell federal judges to go F off and lie to federal judges about planes that were about to fuel and depart and the rest. And he also threw, to continue my corruption theme, he also threw Drew Ensign under the bus, his boss, who's still running around and making appearances in court, despite the fact that he has been accused of fraud and defrauding judges. You ever leave a doctor's office with nothing but a shrug and you're fine? That's been me more times than I care to admit. No data, no plan, just maybe drink more water. But deep down, I knew something was missing. That's why I'm genuinely excited about Superpower. They're flipping the entire healthcare model. No more guessing about your health. They send a licensed professional right to your home, or you can go to a local lab and run a massive panel, over 100 biomarkers. I'm talking heart, liver, thyroid, hormones, metabolism, vitamins, minerals, even environmental toxins. Superpower gives you real personalized insights, like which supplements you actually need, how much sleep is ideal for you, what your diet should prioritize. You even get your true biological age and track how it changes over time. This is the first time I felt like there's an actual roadmap to live longer and better, not just treat problems once they show up. For a limited time, our listeners are getting $50 off an annual Superpower membership by using code LegalAF at checkout. Just head to superpower.com and use code LegalAF to get our exclusive discount. Your biology decoded, your blueprint activated with Superpower. Listen, after you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. I've never in my lifetime and I've been studying this for a long time, seen a Department of Justice so corrupt that a federal judge found probable cause that they had committed criminal contempt, Judge Boasberg. Now that's up on appeal because 2 Trump judges are holding it and not allowing that case to continue, that probable cause for contempt to continue. But a judge found it, and not the first one. Judge Zinnes is about to find, related to Abrego Garcia, is about to find the Trump administration and the Department of Justice in contempt as well. That'll be sometime over the summer, I am sure. And now we come to the Epstein scandal. Donald Trump knows, because there's been reporting, that he is going to go down on this scandal because his name is all over the quote-unquote truckload of documents that Pam Bondi had the FBI review in March, and then she reported to him in May, Donald Trump, and told him, your name is all over the files. And Donald Trump denied it to the American people. See, Donald Trump has a tell. When he is lying to the American people, he says, I don't know anything about something. He knows everything about the thing he just says he doesn't know anything about. And she told him in May, your name is all over it. That's why he never wants to release the files. That's why he redefines the files as only being the grand jury transcripts. That's not the files. The files is what the House Oversight Committee led by MAGA is now seeking. The truckload of documents that people worked morning, noon, and night in double 12-hour shifts to search through. Thousands and thousands of pages and gigabytes. The witness statements of 1,000 witnesses, victims. The results of search warrants on Maxwell, on Epstein, their homes, their computers, the others involved, right? That's the motherlode of documents that make up what we call the Epstein files. So Trump's trying to hide that. So he's got his Department of Justice heads running around trying to distract and lie to the American people. He's got Todd Blanche, who's best friends with Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer, David Marcus from Miami. He's up there on day 2 of interviewing Maxwell in prison up in Tallahassee, Florida. And you know why it's on day 2. He wouldn't have gone up there if David Marcus hadn't told him, the lawyer, that she was going to exonerate Donald Trump. We know that's going on. This corruption scandal. She's going to lie and say anything so she doesn't spend her 80s in federal prison for sex trafficking and being involved with the rape of girls. She will say anything. Donald Trump's already suggested that he's about to pardon her. Well, I haven't thought about it. Lie. But I could and will, because you've decided that you need to get rid of this scandal. Unfortunately, the rest of America and MAGA don't agree with you. They don't agree with you're being transparent, and they believe that where there's smoke, there's fire. That's why we ran on the MeidasTouch network the video deposition from 10 years, 20 years ago, where Epstein was asked point blank, was Donald Trump with girls? Girls. I take the Fifth Amendment. Now you know why. So he's got Blanche as part of this cover-up scandal along with Bondi, because Bondi is in the crosshairs of MAGA, who want her to be fired. So she's trying to fix it through Maxwell. And Maxwell's lawyer, smartly, is trying to get his client a pardon through his relationship with Todd Blanche. Where'd the lawyer come from? His mentor, Alan Dershowitz, also involved in the Epstein scandal. Harvard law professor. So Dershowitz to Marcus, Marcus to Blanche, Blanche to Maxwell. That's it. That's the 5-step process. And this, when you take the plane up and look down, I'm only talking about the first 6 months of an administration. I'm not talking about 4 years, 8 years. I'm talking about 6 months. This is how the Department of Justice and how corrupt it is to its core. This is why federal judges don't respect the Department of Justice under Donald Trump and don't listen to it at all. I'll continue to follow it right here. You're on the MeidasTouch network. Hit the free subscribe button. Hit the Legal AF subscribe button. Now more than ever, independent commentary is under attack. Keep us on the air. Hit these free subscribe buttons. No outside investors, no paywalls. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.